Some stories are about a person, but this is the story of a voice. A voice that for more than 70 years wasn't just something you heard on the radio. No, it was something you felt. It was playful, it was profound, and it was always completely unforgettable. Today, we're going to trace the incredible journey of the one and only Asha Bhosle.
And then that day came, April 12, 2026. The music world just stopped. The news was stark, it felt sudden, and for millions of people, it was deeply, deeply personal. A voice that had been the soundtrack to their lives, it was gone. She was 92 years old. After a battle with cardiac and respiratory issues, the last of the truly great voices from Hindi cinema's golden era had passed away. And with her, it felt like an entire chapter of music history had closed. As the tributes started pouring in, this one from singer Shreya Ghoshal just seemed to capture everything. Limitless. That's the word. And to really understand the weight of that loss, we have to understand the absolutely monumental life she lived. A life filled with struggle, with incredible resilience, and with constant, brilliant reinvention. You see, her story doesn't start with stardom and glamour. It starts with survival. The very spirit that would go on to conquer the world of music, well, it was first forged in the fires of some unbelievable hardship. I mean, just look at the weight of responsibility on her from such a young age. She's born into this famous musical family, but at just 9 years old, her world is turned upside down when her father dies. She and her older sister, Lata Mangeshkar, had to start singing just to help support the family. Then at 16, she makes this huge decision that isolates her, eloping with a man almost twice her age, completely against her family's wishes. That marriage turned out to be incredibly painful and abusive, and it ended with her being thrown out of her own home while pregnant with her third child. Can you even imagine?
So this is the really crucial part to understand. Her early career, it wasn't about fame or being a star. It was pure necessity. She was a single mother, and she took any song she could get, the ones that the more established singers, like her sister, would turn down. We're talking songs for the vamps, the cabaret numbers, the B-list movies, whatever it took to put food on the table for her kids. But her fight wasn't just a personal one. Professionally, she was up against a whole different kind of challenge. How do you find your own voice, your own identity, when you're living in the shadow of a giant? And in her case, that giant was her own sister, the legendary Lata Mangeshkar. And this right here perfectly illustrates the boxes the industry tried to put them in. Lataji was the heroine's voice, pure, classical, almost divine. So by default, Asha became the other voice. The industry pretty much typecast her as the singer for the bad girls, the vamps. But in doing that, they accidentally gave her a space to experiment, to be bold, to be completely different.
That quote from Asha herself just says it all, doesn't it? She was stuck on the sidelines. And then, one composer came along who heard something nobody else did, O.P. Nair. He didn't just give her songs. He gave her a whole new identity. You could say he rescued her career.
And with Nair, wow, the change was immediate. He made her the heroine's voice. He heard that vibrant, playful, rhythmic quality in her singing and paired it perfectly with the electrifying energy of the dancer Helen. I mean, songs like Piya Tu Ab To Aaja, they weren't just hits. They were cultural earthquakes that cemented Asha Bhosle as a powerhouse in Bollywood.
So after she firmly established herself with Nair, the next great partnership of her life, both artistically and personally, was just about to begin. And this one, well, it would change the entire sound of Indian cinema. I'm talking about her collaboration with R.D. Burman, who everyone lovingly called Pancham. You see, Pancham saw that adventurous spirit in Asha and just pushed it to the absolute limit. Together, they created what we now call the Pancham sound, this bold, modern fusion of Western jazz and pop with Indian melodies that was just light years ahead of its time. Their creative chemistry was so intense, so powerful, that it led to them getting married in 1980, creating one of the most iconic partnerships in music history.
And with Pancham, her versatility just exploded. She wasn't just the voice of pop and cabaret anymore. In 1981, she completely stunned the critics by singing these deeply classical, soulful ghazals for the film Umro Jaan, and she won a National Film Award for it. She proved she could do literally everything, jumping from a playful pop song to profound poetry without missing a beat. So, just when you'd think she had reached the absolute peak of her career,
she got ready for what might have been her most daring reinvention of all. We're in the 1990s now, an era when many of her peers were retiring, but Asha Bhosle, oh, she was just getting started. Again.
Seriously, just look at this timeline. It is a masterclass in how to stay relevant. From the go-to voice for Cabaret to a classical virtuoso, then she completely conquers the new indie pop scene and follows that up by becoming an international entrepreneur. It's remarkable. Get this, in her 60s, she wins an MTV award for her pop album. She's being celebrated in a #1 hit song in the UK. And then, in 2002, she takes her other great passion, cooking, and turns it into a global chain of fine dining restaurants. She wasn't just a singer anymore. She was a global brand. So as we come back to the present and think about her passing, what is the legacy she leaves behind? I mean, it's almost impossible to measure, but let's give it a shot.
Over 11,000 songs. Just let that number sink in for a second. Recorded in more than 20 different languages, over a career that spanned more than 7 decades. The sheer volume of her work is just mind-boggling.
And that's not just some fan theory, it's official. In 2011, the Guinness World Records actually recognized her as the most recorded artist in the history of music. It's a testament not just to her long career, but to her relentless, unstoppable work ethic. And the awards? My goodness, the accolades were immense. She received India's absolute highest honors, both in cinema and in civilian life, including the Dadasaheb Phalke Award and the Padma Vibhushan. She was, without any doubt, a true national treasure. So in the end, you just can't pin one single title on her, can you? She was a playback legend and a pop queen, a classical virtuoso and a global restaurateur. But more than anything, she was a cultural ambassador who took the sound of India to the entire world. Which really leaves us with this one final thought. How does a voice become eternal? Well, maybe it's by living a life of just boundless courage, by refusing to let anyone else define you, and by pouring every single ounce of that life, all its hardships, all its loves, all its triumphs, into every single note you sing. Asha Bhosle may have left us, but her melody, that will play on forever.